Hello and welcome to Macc-Pow at Home, a series of informal chats with informal and cozy chats with cartoonists and those from the world of comics and the world and comic art. Today I'm going to be joined by a Spanish cartoonist, Barcelona-based Genie Espinosa, who last year during Macc-Pow at Home joined me on Instagram, and so I thought it would be nice to catch up with Genie again, see how she's been doing, because I know that she's been working on a project that she gave us a little bit of an exclusive on. So we'll find out whether Genie how she's got on with that project. As always, this Macc-Pow at Home is supported by Macclesfield Town Council. And if you enjoy the interviews, you can support this channel on Ko-fi. The link is in the description. I'm pointing down there. I think the description's down there. It could be over there. Who knows? You can like and subscribe to the channel as well, so you'll be informed of any upcoming interviews I'm doing. I'm doing two of these a week. So without further ado, I've got a lot of tricks. If you've been watching these videos, there's a lot of tricks going on here. I'm going to bring Genie in. It's like a television studio over here, and we're going to do this at the same time so we can really make the magic happen. 1 second. This is all rehearsed, and here we go. Here comes Genie, and we're to hang on the sound. There you go. Can you hear the applause, Genie?
Yes.
Yeah. Everyone, the crowd is going wild.
Wow. Woo, woo, high five.
Genie, hello. How are you?
Good, and you? How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. So nice to see you. You are in Barcelona. That's right, isn't
Yes.
it?
Yes. Yes. Sunny Barcelona.
Yeah, and Barcelona, it's just gone 12 o'clock there, is it?
Yes. Straight.
Yeah.
Really on time.
It's 12 o'clock. Nearly 10 past 12. So kind of, well, I was going to say lunchtime, but perhaps not lunchtime just yet. I know that in Spain, everything's maybe a little bit late.
A little bit late, like around 2 or something.
About
So still a little bit of time. Yeah.
Well, have you had breakfast?
What or when?
Have you had breakfast? Have you eaten?
Yes. Like long hours ago. I don't even remember.
You don't even remember it? It's that long ago. It's that long ago.
So, possibly a liter of coffee, and I got this kind of cold brew thing, and now I can do my own cold brew coffee, which is amazing. So yeah, probably just that. Too much coffee.
Too much. Well, I know, because this is one of the things that we spoke about last time. We spoke about in the past that you are a coffee fan, as am I. So it's nice to have, and you've got to have a good coffee.
Yes, and it's like essential to start the day properly. If the first coffee doesn't taste right, I'm done. Back to bed.
Yeah. Oh, but really? So it's got to be spot on. Right. Okay. So Genie, we were very so as you know, Macc-Pow at Home is a version for those people who maybe don't know, but Macc-Pow at Home is a version of Macc-Pow, which is the comic art festival that I organise in my hometown in Macclesfield here in the UK. And Macc-Pow at Home is a way of still keeping Macc-Pow going during these crazy years that we're currently in. So last year we had some little Instagram live chats, which were great. And this year I wanted to make it a little bit more less chaotic and also focus on each creator with a little bit more time. And so that's why I asked you to take part. And one of the great things was that as well as doing Macc-Pow at Home, you actually came to Macc-Pow in person.
Yes, and I want to come back again. So
yeah, well, fingers crossed. So yeah, you came in about 3 years ago. I think it was the third one that we did. And it was so 2018. I think 2018. I think so. Yeah, it seems such a long time ago now.
I know.
So much has happened, but it was so exciting to have you guys and you to come over to Macclesfield, and it helped make the event. It gave it. It just took it up a little bit of a level, because suddenly I could say that we had international guests, and these things help. As I mentioned at the start of this, we're supported by Macclesfield Town Council, and being able to welcome international guests, show the council that it's not just people in Macclesfield who would be coming to this event, that we have a little bit of attention worldwide. And these things really help to get the support and to help these things carry on, which is what what I want to do with Macc-Pow, and hopefully next year when we come back for a physical event. But we have talked a little bit about something later in the year that maybe, fingers crossed, you might be able to be involved with, which would be quite exciting. So yeah. So Genie, so I've got a few little tricks here, Genie, so just to show everybody, so just so everybody can know, so Genie Espinosa, cartoonist, hoops in brackets. So we'll talk about what hoops is in a moment, and I can also do this, which is quite exciting. I can put your website.
Wow!
Look at that. It's very cool.
Super cool.
Yeah, so people can go to your website there. It's not going so fast. That is correct, isn't it? Your website there, and they can also find you on Instagram. But we can do all the web links at the end as well. But yeah, so Genie, you are. Do you call? I refer to you as a cartoonist. Do you refer to yourself as a cartoonist?
I say illustrator and comic artist. Yes,
Right.
because I would say that I work as an illustrator more, but every chance I have to do a comic, I will just do, because it's like so much fun and so much suffering at the same time. But as I know, that we can stop doing them. So yeah.
Yeah, so in terms of doing the comics, have you worked for publications?
Yes, I've done. The last one I did like a couple months ago, or maybe just one, because the track of time is like totally lost at this point of my life. I did 8 pages comic for Lockzine, a publication from Italy, and the topic was Blossom, which was very, very excited. And I didn't want to tackle it the normal kind of blossomy in a flower kind of way. So I kind of made a spider having this epiphany while it's riding some rose petals around with the wings, or something like quite fun that I had the chance to. But after doing the graphic novel that I finished last year, I would say like super, super hard just to focus again on doing a comic book. Like, I'm kind of thinking of starting a new one, but it's just the thinking of it is so hard that I don't know when I will be able to do something like that again.
So are you used to working with your own words? So you write, is it more often that you would write the whole thing, come up with the whole idea and then illustrate that?
Yeah. And the ideas can come from anything. I haven't been given a script to do a comic with, I don't think.
No.
So yeah, everything I do, it comes from my damaged brain. So sometimes very hard to put on a paper. I've got so many ideas in notebooks around the house that I don't feel I can put them or like draw them yet. So they are still there.
Because I think it's when you are a creative and you're making comics, it is hard to work with somebody else at times, because we're very controlling over every little thing, and also when you're writing it yourself, you've got full control, and you can really work with connecting the words and the pictures together in different ways than I think if somebody else is writing it and you're drawing it. They might have a certain way that they want it to look, but I think when you've got the full freedom to just do it however you want, that's better, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so, because it's like working with an art director or something like that. Sometimes they are very happy to let you just take control and do whatever you feel more comfortable doing, because sometimes the ideas are so far away from your zone that it's very hard, and it's because we can't read minds. So sometimes just going along with the other person's idea is super hard. Just to jump into the same train rails they are going to. It's like an exercise sometimes. But comics I haven't done. Everything I've done is on my own terms. So kind of set the how is it? Like set the whole to give on or fall myself. So yeah. It's very. Sometimes I wish somebody would tell me, "Don't go that way."
Yeah. Well, so because that's the thing. Because do you have? So when you're working on the comics, do you have somebody that you like, a friend or somebody who you'll show your work to see what they think, or do you literally just it's only you?
It's only me. It's very hard for me to show things while I'm doing them, because if somebody gave me a feedback like, I don't understand this, or I will get frustrated in a way. So I want to not finish 100%, but just complete enough so the other person can have the full idea and say, I don't understand this transition, or this doesn't work with this other thing. But yeah, I think I have to have it like 90% done until I show it to somebody. Do you show the sketches, or do you go with the final?
No, I just kind of, I suppose it just comes with confidence, doesn't it? And that you kind of, it's nice to be able to get to a point where you're confident enough to know that you can do things slightly differently, and even though some people might not understand the flow, you're confident enough to go, this is different. I'm approaching this different than maybe the usual kind of way of telling a story in a comic as well, and that all comes from confidence. So no, I don't really show. People might see, over my shoulder what I'm doing, but I don't tend to show work in progress. I've recently worked with for the first time ever, worked with another writer, and he wrote a script for a kind of a comic book kind of storybook. It's probably more, it's presented as a comic, but it's probably more driven by a narrative. So there's little bits of dialogue in it, but it's not. Whereas my comics usually are just all dialogue, and the story goes like that. So that was different, kind of, to work with that person. And so I showed him pages as I was doing them, which was weird because, like I say, I never really do that. And so to show pages, my biggest thing was, well, if he comes back and goes, I just don't like how you've done this, well, I don't know what else I was going to do, because I don't know about you, but I only have really one answer to how something is going to look. I don't do lots of different versions.
No, me neither. I just, yeah.
It's just
because the work we do is previous to that. Like when we show a sketch or something, we have done all the sketches, we have done all the roughs. We've just discarded so many ideas that when you show something, even if it's not finished, like a rough, or look, this is how the page is gonna look like, and this is what's gonna happen, or this is the narrative that I'm following. Yeah, I mean, I've been thinking about it. It's not like something that I just came across.
That's already been decided, but it's probably been decided in your head, rather on lots and lots of pieces of paper. And so, so I kind of just see it as, well, this is the only way it could be. So I don't know how else I could change this. But it was great because the guy sort of put a lot of trust in me, and everything that we maybe changed a few little things, but for the most part, it stayed as I drew it. And so that was really quite nice. To work that way, and so that's been good fun to do. So it was nice to do a collaboration, maybe I'll do some more. So you mentioned so I've got here in your title, Genie Espinosa Hoops. Now, when we last spoke last year for Macc-Pow, you were just working on hoops, and since then, Genie, tell everybody what has actually happened.
This has happened.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Published. Yes, it's like published and came for sale on March this year. So super happy. It's quite chubby, as you can see.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Tick. So it was like at the end, I managed to do 178 pages.
178 pages. That's incredible. And so how long? Yeah. So when I spoke to you, it was June last year. I have a feeling you were getting quite close to it being finished then. Am I right then, or in June?
Well, it was like halfway through, because when we spoke last time, I just decided I didn't want to do something like I have already done it. So I was reviewing bits and pieces and going back and forth with my past, I would say 50 pages, something like that I had done. So I was just cleaning it, just doing lines differently, because it was like a commitment. It's a project that has been lasting 3 years, I would say. Like I spent since I had the idea until it actually I got it in my hands. So about things change and you change and the way of thinking change and the way that you draw changes because we are always drawing, so it's only normal that this changes as well. So yeah, I was like kind of getting through the way I wanted to explain things, and I think I show you the first bit, which is
Yeah.
these musical bits,
Right. Yeah.
because it starts like it's very musical, this comic. I don't have as much text as you do have, so as
Right.
you can
Okay.
see,
Yeah.
not many not many dialogue going on. It's more like kind of, I would say it's like a hybrid between illustration and classic comics, and also like 6 minutes per page and everything, and
And is
also experimentation with narrative and with music. So I was kind of getting to the point that I wanted the reader to listen the music I was playing while I was drawing the comic. So it's kind of took me a little bit of time to set the timing right. So because this is like, comic artists, we are mad. Like why do we do this? Like why? Because I wanted the reader to listen to the music while reading. So the timing of the vignettes of the panels is
right.
very, like, I gave it a lot of thought, so
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
could just do the movement or just go to the next page and continue singing the song in your head or
Okay.
out loud.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, fantastic. And so
Mm.
um when you started that, so how long did it take you to do it from start to finish?
Well, if I was only doing this, I would say like probably half a year, 8 months. If I put all the time together, no distractions, nothing else than working on a comic, I would say. Just because sometimes you don't actually draw anything. You are most like thinking, this is not working, I should change this, or sketching one spread over and over again, just trying to, because I'm very like timing focused. I like the narrative and the flow of the panels going a certain way. So I was very, very concerned about this happening and not being very repetitive all around the comic. So you have to go back and forth, read it again, see if this works with this thing. So yeah, I would say 8 months probably.
And so do you write anything out first? Do you write out an idea first, or do you just start drawing?
I had no idea how to do this, to be honest, because I've always done small zines, like 12 pages. I think the maximum that I did before this one was 12, like a story of 12 pages. So
Right.
not really used to, yes. And this was a song, so
Okay.
I
Right.
didn't write the story either. But yeah, just this is more illustration. It's more like I had the idea, this is what's gonna happen, and I didn't know how to get into it. How do I break this story into pieces? So I had my friend Clara Soriano, which is a Spanish cartoonist as well, and she said, just grab things, like divide it into two halves. This half of the story is this thing, and then go from there, go make smaller pieces until you get just a certain number of pages that you can work on. But it didn't work for me because I said to my publisher, it's gonna be 100 pages, and look,
Right.
180 almost. So yeah, it went totally wild because I wanted the written things, and I was like, oh my god, just let me do this. And I need there's music intervals as well, like when you are in the TV just watching a show or something, and
Yeah.
then a commercial comes into the screen. This happens in this comic as well.
All
So I
right.
was like, yeah, it was like trying to experiment a little bit as well with this kind of music sequences and stuff. So
Right. And so when you did, as you're getting closer to it being finished, are you just ready for it to be done at that point? Are you just like, I need this to be finished now. I want to stop working on this. You
it
can
was hmm, it was a little bit sweet and sour because I wanted to tell more things about the characters. I wanted to explain myself better, but just I couldn't do it because it was like this is at the pages that you have. You can go further. So I was like kind of making things a little bit resume, like making them happen in less pages that I would like to.
right.
But at the same time, yeah, I was very ready for it to be done because there were some moments that I was like, I just can't think of. this is the only thing I think about, like panels, distribution of panel, weights, everything all the time. Like I can't, but
And
yeah,
and
very
so
happy.
do you send to your publisher? Would you send pages as you were doing them, or do you send them like in blocks of pages at a time? And
Yeah, I think 50 pages each time.
right,
Like every time I did 50. And then by the end, I was like, wait a little bit longer because I'm going to just send it the whole thing. So you can read it. Like, give me a break. I need some fresh eyes to look at this point.
yeah, yeah,
And yeah, it was like, and he was like, oh, no changes. I'm super happy how it came through. And I was like, okay, perfect, no changes, which is I don't know, the best two words that you can listen to, no changes. Like,
yeah. I
and
know.
then it was done.
Yeah, because you kind of think no changes is great because that means that no one is interfering. But also, maybe you also want somebody to just say something so you feel that I don't know. Yeah, it's a strange thing when no changes. It's strange because you don't want any changes, but maybe it's a surprise that there are no changes.
Well, it's like yesterday it happened to me because I'm working on this illustration project and I was very ready. I've been working all the whole weekend and I was like a mess yesterday. And he was like, I have to call you. He sent me a WhatsApp. And I was like, oh, I have to call you like means something is going super wrong right now. And when he called me, he was like, yeah, it's done, no changes. And I was like, ha ha ha. What? Are you for real? Like, is this like done? Well, not done because now I have to make the adaptations of all the formats and stuff, but
Yeah,
done. The concept, the idea is settled
yeah,
after this time of exploration and a little bit of suffering, Like,
yeah.
yeah,
Well,
it's good the trust. It's good that you are being trusted enough to say it's not changes
because
here.
I think it's nice because I think if somebody's got the confidence in you, because you always have to kind of sometimes you have to remind people that the reason they came to you was because they like how you do things. So the strange thing is if then somebody then starts to change what you've done, because you think, well, I thought you liked how I do things, and most and if somebody's a new person that you're working with, they've never seen your work in progress. They've always only ever seen your finished things.
Mm.
So I do understand that some sort of clients might it is a leap of faith where they might have seen how you've drawn this, but they've never seen you draw this thing that they want you to draw. But they have to kind of just sort of go, well, all right, I know how you've drawn this, and I assume you're going to do a great job of the thing I've got. So I do think it's strange sometimes when certain clients do want to change things a lot because it's almost like they don't want your work then, they want your work influenced by them.
Exactly. And then if you start messing with our designs or our illustrations a lot of our comics, anything, it won't belong to us anymore. It will be a mashup of things. And
Yes.
sometimes I say to my client, I'm killing this one. We are not going further with this one because you know what? It doesn't belong to you. It's not your idea. It's not my artwork. It's nothing that I like about this anymore. So I'm
No,
not giving my 100%. I'm not loving it.
no, because
What's the point then?
yeah, it's hard because it is about making money because that's how this is what you do is your job to live. But it also in the same time isn't just about making money because you don't want to just do anything because then the quality of your work will change and you can fall into a very dangerous sort of trap of then changing how you work where you don't care as much and the reason these people came to you in the first place is because you do care and you want to do a great job and they've seen great jobs that you've done for other people and they want the same thing but then they come along and change it. It's a very strange thing.
Yeah, it's very strange and it's confusing for us. I think we don't really understand the idea. And I'm just in the middle of this tiny project, and this person came like, I like this, but do one for me. But because when I did that, I was doing another thing. I just can't get to the same point. It's different. It's been 2 years. And it's like we are kind of battling right now, like in the trying to find a middle ground in between
Yeah,
what you liked about that. No, it's like somebody messing with your baby a little bit.
Yes. And we say, oh, don't.
No.
No, it is because, and I think that's the hardest thing of because obviously we all want to be working. It's great to self-publish things because then you have the full control, but we do aspire to have work published, and because that's where you will make more money, and it will be a better project. But then by entering into that kind of world, you're then bringing other things into it that aren't there when you're self-publishing, because when you're self-publishing, no one is saying anything other than do I like this, do you like what you've done, I'm happy, let's get it printed and let's try and sell it, because you will be able to do that, and that's exciting. In Barcelona, is there a big comic scene in Barcelona?
Well, it was before COVID, obviously, everywhere, I think. But yeah, we had amazing zine and comic festivals here happening every year. Like even from the corporative ones, the massive Comic Con kind of thing. We had the American comic and the manga comic, like the Japanese more focused. And we had that, and also we had the independent ones, the Graph. It's called one is called Graph, and the other one is the Gutterfest, which were amazing. Just the all kinds of people coming from everywhere, just setting a table, zines, and the things that you saw there. Like I would like happily stand by any stand for an hour plus, just staring at things, deciding what to buy, because you never get any money home if you go to these festivals. You never go back with money. It's like as soon as I get some, I'm gonna spend it, because so many beautiful things all around.
And it's so exciting. It's very exciting to see so many different creators that you didn't even know existed, because there are a lot of people in the world making comics. And every time you look on Instagram, and Instagram can suggest new people for you based on the people that you follow, and then you'd suddenly discover somebody's work that you didn't know had been making comics, or and I suppose in a way that's how I discovered your work. It's just clicking on, and it's a lot of clicking on things, and you click on this, and then that thing leads you to this, and then somebody's tagged in a little illustration, and next thing you know, you've discovered somebody brand new whose work you really love, and that's such an exciting thing.
Yes, and it's so much talent everywhere, like just on Instagram only. Like the what could spend I don't know how many times if I wasn't aware. Like just what you said, just going from one profile to the other, and maybe some people sharing something in their stories that they like, and that makes you discover so many great artists from all around, which is awesome. It's super good.
It also shows, and this is in terms of you putting out your graphic novel, that there's so many people doing it. It's not easy to get published. It kind of seems easy because there's a lot of books and comics out there, and we all see them, in comic shops and bookshops. They're all there, but there's so many people who sadly won't get published, or might, it's a real struggle to do that. So it's a huge achievement that you have got your published graphic novel in front of you. Yeah,
it is, and also like very surprisingly, because I just posted something on Facebook, like I was doing for a scene, I think it was like an illustration, but it worked like a comic book, like a comic panel after panel reading thing. And this publisher saw it, and he was like, "Oh, let's talk." So we had a meeting, and I said, "I'm working on this story, which is like a little bit longer." He said, "Right, if you want to publish it with me, I'm happy to publish it." But then, like 1 week after, another publisher saw it, and he was like, do you have something that I can publish?" And I was like, like if I had 2 ideas.
Yeah. Wow.
Can you imagine just having 2 ideas?
No, yeah. So you've not got 2 ideas.
No, and also, you know what? Like I was working on this story. Even there's not a lot of text. There's a lot of content on it. But now I'm starting to think how or if I want to do another one, as long as this one is. Yeah. So I just kind of started with the open sequence that I want to start with, but I'm still just planting the seeds here and there to see if something can grow.
because you know how long it took you to do your last one now, whereas the first time round you didn't know how long it was going to take. You were just doing it, and so now you kind of have a rough idea how long it's going to take you, and so you think, do I really want to be doing for that amount of time? Because it's a lot of work, isn't it? And I don't think it's not easy for people who don't do this to realize just what goes into making comics, and even just drawing a picture. And even though sometimes, and I'm sure you can do this, that you can probably create something that's fantastic, somebody looks at it and they go, wow, this is incredible, but you can probably do it maybe quicker than some people would realize, but they don't realize just what goes into getting to the point that you can do it quicker. Does that make sense?
And and also because to be able to do it quicker, we have done 2 million hours before, so we can work quicker. But the show, it's been there, it's been done by years and years and years, a roller coaster of emotions. I'm good enough, I'm not good enough, going up and down on the. It's so hard. Like it's not like, I don't know. It's not digging like how it's crashing rocks or anything. It's not something that is super exhausting in the classic way. But most of days, I'm just having a headache. I'm super tired. My back hurts. I grind my teeth because of the stress of thinking. Like my body is suffering stress constantly because my brain is pushing everything to be focused. It's super hard.
Yeah.
Just have an idea. It's super hard.
No, it is, and just making the comic. You know, anytime you've got anything physical that you can hold and go, look, I've made this. You know, it is a real achievement, and no, you should be very proud of the fact that you've got this fantastic graphic novel with a big, thick spine as well.
Yes, super tough, and it smells very nicely too. And the colors. Look at the paper. The paper is kind of granulated, like with a bit of texture. I don't know if you can see. But the colors came across super nicely, very, very bright.
Yeah.
And I was a little bit worried about, sometimes it comes across a little bit darker or not so bright. But then even the scenes with a little more ink, you can see the lines very, very well.
And so how? So how? I mean, I do know, but let's talk about this. So how do you go about making your comics? So do you do? Is anything on a piece of paper, or is it straight to the digital pencils, or how do you do that, Genie?
I have a notebook specific for every comic that I do. But for this one, I got like an A4 size one, and then I put all the tiny bits of paper or paper cuts that I had inside of it. And yes, because I was like not used to work on something so long in the story wise, so I was breaking things a little by little, and then because I'm not used to, I couldn't do the full storyboard of all along. So I was working in blocks, like maybe 10 pages every time. So I was sketching this. This is what I want to tell. 10 pages, sketching, going to the computer, drawing it, like full color, not just line and leave the ink or the colors for. No, just do the full pages and then go back to the notebook and sketch again 10 pages. This is how I did it every time. So I don't think it's the smartest way, but it's the only thing I could just get my brain around the story.
Right. Yeah. And then you kind of and so do you and then you draw then digitally onto what do you use?
What?
What are you drawing on? Are you drawing onto a tablet or a Wacom?
Do a Cintiq, a super old Cintiq that I have, like the 20, I think it's 21 inches. So it's like the colors are not very, very good. The screen is not very nicely, the bright is not very good. But yeah, this is what I'm used to. So I was like going from sketches. I didn't even scan the sketches or take photos of the sketches because my sketches are like circles and sticks all the time. It's more like just about the composition of the page, or if the panels get divided in a different way, or if what's happening in the scene goes out of the panels, because the panels are underneath. The panels are underneath the back here. I don't know if you can see.
Okay. Right.
So it's like, I wanted this monster to go over the lines. So it was more like this kind of, it's gonna be a double spread with this kind of monster, and then going back to the page division thing. It's more like this kind of notes that I make and then I go straight to the tablet and draw from beginning to finish. But I did the compromise of this style of illustration long before I started drawing it.
Right.
So I didn't want to add like a little bit, a lot of detail or just zooming in a lot. I didn't want to stop by every panel a long time because I know that I will be exhausted by the end of, I don't know,
So do
10,
you
12 pages.
So do you think that you've kind of got a couple of different styles? Because I can, you know, if somebody was to show me that, I would go, well, that's Genie's work. I can tell. But then there are some things sometimes that you post that initially I can't tell. I wouldn't have known straight off that the more, the more detailed things, I wouldn't have known straight away that was yours. Do you have those styles, kind of two different styles that you kind of go
Well,
between?
I think for the comic, I just wanted an outline, and this is not anything that I do on my illustration. Like in my illustration, I just draw lines, but very very tiny, very specific. I'm more like a kind of texture illustrator, if this is a thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the comic, I wanted the outline, so I had to study the way that I wanted to draw the lines on it, and then because when I think we do the same, like we settle like a style of that we have, like we have things that we do all the time.
Yeah.
This is a thing because this is the we are comfortable with it, like the way they look like. They might change in the future, but it's like a Bible of our style as a cartoon artist or illustrator. So I had to get the two things in common, like in the middle ground. So they talk to each other. They are not rivals. They speak the same language, but they are two different things.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah, and I think it's nice to sort of play around with things as well, and not feel limited. Well, I can't do this because this isn't my style that everybody knows. It's nice to sort of change things up a little bit and just do different things, because also, as much as you might have people who love your work, that look in a certain way, if you just make a slight change, you might also suddenly have a whole other new set of people who suddenly gravitate to your work, and then maybe then discover your other stuff. Some of it it might not be as much. They might not like that style as much as they like this one, but or they might go, oh, I love all this. So you suddenly open yourself up to an audience, and I think.
And I think it's very natural to explore as well. Like your work is not going to be the same next year because you've been working so much that it's going to evolve in a way. And maybe you can just go two steps further and then go back to the zone that you were before because it feels safer, or you think that what you were what you was doing was more interesting than the thing that you are heading to. But this is like, I don't know, I think it's part of the process. I'm very jealous, and at the same time, I'm not, of these artists that are super committed to this particular style. They don't move no matter how time it passes, because I think it's like they are super happy and they found their spot, and but at the same time, risks are challenging a little bit, and I like to challenge myself to the point that I get frustrated and I get super anxious and I don't want to do it anymore. And like this is kind of, I don't know, I just wish sometimes that I just do one thing, instead of overthinking all the time.
But I think it's nice to sort of, because we're always learning different things, aren't you, as you're doing it, and then and the more you work, the more, particularly if you're doing comics, the more the comics that you're making, even if people can't tell the difference between some things, you can see how you've changed over a year, and I think it's nice to sort of get to the point where you can then be really, really confident, and then start to be confident enough to maybe even at times draw less, in terms of what you're putting on the page, where you don't feel that you've got to put everything in there. You can strip things away and do something really, really simple and still have the same impact. We kind of, you can feel that you've got to, maybe if you're drawing a scene, that you've got to draw everything so people can see where everything is. And I think the real trick is when you can then still draw that scene, but with less things in the background, and still make people know where the characters are.
Yeah, and what's happening. Yeah, that was one of the things that I was really focused about doing in this particular comic because it was so long. And but yeah, totally just simplifying things because and also this is one thing that I saw, and I don't know if it's I don't know. Well, I was just thinking, how much time do I spend in a reading comic?
Yes.
How much time do I spend before turning the page? So how much effort for me that I'm like exhausted all the time and I wanted to enjoy this comic. I didn't want to hate it. I didn't want to that happen the same thing that happens with the clients. I didn't want to be tired of them or not liking spending my time with them. So I had to sacrifice maybe a certain level of detail that I would have done or certain way of shadowing or a certain color palette. So I had to commit to all of this in order to make this graphic novel work the way that I could enjoy it and make the reader enjoy it while reading it.
Yeah, because it's true. Because if I buy a comic, the first thing I do is I have a quick look through it, and then I read it. And when I'm reading it, I don't really study the drawings that much when I'm reading it. I'm reading it because I want to read what's happening. And then once I've read it, if I really enjoyed it, and the reason why I bought it, because I don't buy lots and lots because I just can't afford to, but the reason I then go back to it and then just look at it again. So I've seen it, I've read it, I understand what's happening, and now I go back and I want to look at all the drawings and then see how the story's been told without me needing to read the words again. And so that's really, and so that's quite an interesting thing to make it that way as well, to think, well, how long would somebody spend reading this? Because on average, comics don't really take that long to read.
Unless they are super, super thick and with a lot of text, obviously.
So unless it's like a huge thing, but just your average kind of comic book doesn't really take that long to read.
I would say that you can probably sit down, most likely in the toilet, to read it. Let's be honest. So
Genie,
I don't know. Come on.
No,
I just said this was one of the promo things that I said about this graphic novel. I said I just want you to take this one to the toilet and spend so much time reading it that you get the red marks in the knees just to me holding it. Because you couldn't get up, you have to finish it and you are in the toilet. So I'm sorry.
I think your comic is definitely a long time on the toilet. I think that's.
I would say, look, with this comic, what I'm gonna say is my comic, no. But what I like is that you can read it in different ways. You can just read it. It's fine. It's an adventure. It's like a game, like a video game kind of adventure. Okay. Three girls fall into a wormhole, like a change of how can I say it? When you jump and you appear in another. How is it?
Another dimension.
Yes, in another dimension. Sorry. And then you can go that way. They fall. They appear somewhere else. They fight monsters and they go back.
Right.
Or you can just go back and see, because there's two languages in this comic. There's two color palettes. One is this is the other dimension. So when you start, after the song, you read this, which is like kind of manga kind of way. And then when they fall into the other dimension, the color palette changes, and it's like this. So through the whole comic, you kind of know where you are regarding the color palette.
Right, okay.
So some people think that the story is in one color palette, but I would say that the story is in the other color palette. But I'm not going to say which one. So I'm not going to say anything, but it's like so many things that you can do, and I'm sure you do as well with comics. Like you can layer things so much. You can just work so many things, and sometimes the reader don't see anything really. Like they will just go through, and it's done, and it's fun, and then you've put so many thought away. That it's like reading the feedback of the reader is so it's some adventure. Like I would say,
But
it's like an exciting thing.
yeah, it's nice to be able to use color to tell a story as well. And I think when people will, who maybe didn't even notice that, will then one day suddenly go, oh, look at this. This is in a certain color when it's this part of the story. And then when it's the other part of the story, it's in a different color. And I think things work for people on different levels. Some people won't notice it, but other
Yeah.
people will. I thought you were going to go into a big story about the toilet then, Genie, and I wasn't sure what you were going to tell me.
No, we are out of the toilet already.
We're out of the toilet. We're out of the toilet. So let's stay out of the toilet. And we're gonna. I'm not going to take too much more of your time because I'm sure you've got some work to do. I don't want your clients sending you emails whilst saying where is this work, Genie? I don't know what's going on. We're paying you.
We just saw that you're having so much fun with Mark. Get back to work.
I don't want to get you in any trouble. But yeah, I really hope that. And again, I was so pleased that you came to Macclesfield because it was a big deal, and it was a big deal for my event, and it really helped me in terms of moving the event forward to be able to say, look, because the whole idea was the original idea was to do something. I had no idea whether anyone was going to come. And then just that people came through the door and enjoyed it was fantastic. So then to see it sort of grow to the point that that a creator from Barcelona would get on a plane to come to Macclesfield and was fantastic, and it really helped to sort of validate the event.
And I will do it again and again and again because it was so much fun. The organization was fantastic. Everything was so great. Like Mark, we had the greatest time there, and there's just a chance to sit and meet other creatives and being able to share a space for the amount of hours it is. And after I met Thor. Thor came the same year that I came. Thor Malor.
Oh, Thor, yeah.
See. And I met her last year in Brighton. We were like, it was so much fun. You know, like we still remember the time we spent together there. And we were just fangirling each other. That's what we did. So it's like super good. And Macc-Pow was great. Like any chance to go, even if I have a table or not, I will just do it.
Well, you're always welcome. And I hope that comes in September, we're hoping to do a little Macc-Pow mini. We've talked about this, and that'll be primarily workshop based, so it'll be a small group of cartoonists doing workshops throughout the day of drawing with children and anybody who else wants to draw. So we're hoping to be able to do that, and I would love it if you were able to come and bring your comic with you as well, so we can see that in person. And are you doing any or any events? We'll kind of finish on this now, Ginny. But are you doing any events in Barcelona, in Spain? Are physical events happening?
Not that I know of, because I'm so out of everything. Like right now, I don't know. But there's some things happening with wall art, like graffiti. Kind of this is moving because it's open. So this happened. There was like a mini zine thing 2 months ago. It was super cute to be able to go back and see, even if it's like 10 tables instead of 40. You know, like I think little by little things are going back to normal, hopefully. So yeah, I can't wait. Really, I can't wait to get into somewhere and go back home with ton of comics. I can't really wait.
And have you had chance to? So in terms of you're selling your comic at the moment, have you been able to do any appearances in any way, or has it all been online?
I did some promo online, and then there was this comic shop where I had like the first presentation thing. So it was like you have to book the seat and everything because we couldn't be a lot of people. It was very, very nice. It went online as well. And then the 23rd of April here in Catalonia, we have St. George's Day, which is just the tradition is that you get given a book and then you get a rose back. So women give books to men and men give roses to women. So I had like some bookstores with my name on it, and the comics were there, and I was just sitting there. I thought nobody was gonna come, and actually people came, and I signed some. It was so exciting. Like I was because the first thing I always work for, not for Spain, so it's always like my work is somewhere else. And just this is kind of the first thing I have in Barcelona or in Spain, so it was very emotional being
Ah,
able to talk to people and people saying, I didn't know anything about you. It was like, I'm just living here.
because that's the most important thing, because you can never sit back and go, everybody knows me now, and I've done all the hard work. I don't need to try and get any more engagement with new people. There will always be somebody who comes along who says, I've never seen your work before, and
Yes,
that's just the way, there are people who I discover now who aren't even alive. These are people who were making comics years ago, and suddenly and they're like brand new people to me, and it's like, wow, how did I not know that their work even existed? But at least we get a chance to discover that.
yes,
And it's a little bit, it's easier to discover it these days, and it's tricky as well because there's so many people, but it's also easier to be at least have the opportunity to be able to find people if you know where to kind of look. So
And
well,
if I would say if COVID had something good was that so many people went turned to online things, to the workshops, and
yeah,
it was so much easy to just being online and enjoying a talk or somebody recommending other artists and stuff. So that was like one of the biggest thing I would say to get like one of the best things about this COVID thing, that it was so much things happening online, so many productions, so many artists
yeah,
moving into this screen kind of format, talking about it, just doing
yeah.
some illustration live or Q&A things. So yeah, that was one of the good things.
Well, we've got to find a positive, and it's so nice to see you, and it's so nice to see you well and excited with your comic. I'm really pleased that you that it's done and it's there and it's real. Jeannie, thank you for your time. It's always nice to see you, always nice to talk to you, and I hope that we get to see you at Macc-Pow
Yeah.
in some way, shape, or form in real life very soon. And fingers crossed, at some point we can come over to Barcelona and
Yes.
and you can show me and the family all the places that comics exist in, and also some nice places to eat.
Yes. Perfect. If that's a plan, it's a perfect plan.
All we need is just simple little plans, and that's a simple
Yes.
plan.
Food and comics.
We're not asking for much. We're just having a good time. So, well, Jeannie, it's so nice to see you. So I'm just going to wrap this up. So thank you very much for spending the time with us today. And once this is finished, the link will be there. So I will share this, and you can share that on your page, and people can watch this again. And for those people who haven't watched it live, hello to those people as well. Thank you for watching. On Friday, Friday the 11th of June at 1:30 p.m. UK time, I'm chatting to cartoonist Lou Stringer, so that's exciting. Lou is was the first person that I contacted when Macc-Pow was the very first little idea, and Lou's been with us from the start. So I'm looking forward to talking to Lou. But in the meantime, let me just get my little bag of tricks again, Jeannie. I think it's only fair to finish off our interview in the way we started it. So I give you, everybody, hang on. Oh, I'll give you Genie Espinosa, everybody. Thank you, Jeannie.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Bye, Jeannie. Take
Thank
care.
you so much. Bye.
Oh, fantastic. It was so nice to talk to Jeannie after having a chance to chat to her last year for Macc-Pow at Home. And I hope you enjoyed this interview. Again, if you didn't watch this live, hello. I hope you've enjoyed it as well. As always, we are supported by Macclesfield Town Council. Tune in on Friday, the 11th of June. That's this Friday at 1:30 p.m. BST UK time for my chat with cartoonist Lou Stringer. And until then, I'm going to try and I'm going to end the broadcast without keep looking. So I'm going to keep smiling. But yes, so thank you for watching, and look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you. Bye.